back to the castle, where nobody's innocent, everyone's dramatic, and common sense did not make the guest list. Let's recap the Traitors Season 4. This is kinda unhinged. What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. I'm back with another Traitors video, and we are on Season 4, Episode 6. So we begin this episode with the players coming down for breakfast, and they are nervous. They don't know if somebody took a shield when they weren't paying attention, so they don't know if someone has been unalived. And Lisa knows that Colton's onto her, so she's got to liven herself up and be more like the Lisa Rinna that people are used to. So everyone comes in and they realize that no one took a shield and no one was unalived. So while they're at breakfast, Colton looks over at Dorinda and he's like, "How are you feeling about Lisa?" He's like, "I want you to watch her because I think she's a traitor." And then we see a scene with Rob and Ron, and Rob is saying that he's feeling bad about Ron's place in the house because he really likes him and he sees that they have a lot of the same traits. So he's really conflicted about the house wanting to vote him out today. And then Johnny is trying to assemble a group of 8 house guests to go against Colton and vote him out because Johnny feels like Colton is dangerous. He rallies the troops. He feels like he's probably a traitor, and he knows it's going to be an uphill battle to get him out. So this mission was one of my favorites so far. It's the cabin in the woods. Love this mission because I love haunted houses and all things scary. So this was right up my alley. I loved every minute of it. So the players go inside the cabin, they sit at this table, and they are given a clue. The clue gives them a name of a person who is buried in the cemetery next to the cabin. Once they know the name of the person, they have to send 2 players out to the graveyard to stand in front of that person's grave, and then if they're at the right grave, a hand will come up out of the grave with the cash. But not only are there graves with cash in them, there are also graves that have shields in them. So they have a total of 6 clues. They're each worth 3,000 apiece. So if they get all 6 of them, they add $18,000 to their prize money. So the players go inside the cabin and they sit at the table, and immediately they decide that they're not going to take shields. And Natalie's like, "If anybody takes a shield, you're getting banished tonight." And some of them are thinking like, man, this is what the game's all about. But ultimately they all agree not to take a shield. So the first clue they're given is a scrambled name, and they have to unscramble it and find out the name of the person. So before they got the last letter of the last name, Jam Jam yells out that the last name is Clark. So they send Tara and Candace out to the graveyard with the wrong last name, and then they realize that they sent them with the wrong name. It was actually Black instead of Clark. So they're trying to yell, "It's actually Black, the last name's Black," but Tara and Candace can't hear them, so they go to the wrong grave. So they miss out on the first clue's prize money. And then the second clue was like a blood on the wall message, and they sent Jam Jam and Mara. So when they run to the graveyard, Jam Jam's like, "Look, I see shields. Are we gonna go for them?" And Mara's like, "No, you heard what Natalie said. We're gonna get banished. Let's just go to the grave." So they go to the grave and they get the money, and Mara's like, "Man, Jam Jam's looking mad, but I don't know what to tell him. They said if we took the shields, we're gonna get banished." So the third clue came from a typewriter, and they send Lisa and Steven to grab this money. And they continue to breeze through these clues, and they get the last 3 correct, and they get the prize money. So the last 3 players that are left are Rob, Eric, and Ron. So when they come out of the cabin, Alan tells them that the players have collectively gathered $15,000 in prize money and that no one took a shield. So when they get back to the castle, Johnny is still trying to rally the troops against Colton, and he's telling people that, "Look, I think Colton is our best bet to vote out tonight." And then in another room, a group of players are talking, and somebody brings up Ron's name, and Rob's like, "I don't think Ron's a traitor." And Candace is thinking, why is he going rogue? We said we were going to vote for Ron, so why are you saying this in front of all these people? Then we see Colton tell Lisa that he wants to talk to her in another room. And he goes in there and he's trying to trip her up and trying to tell her like, "Look, I know you're a traitor. I think we can work together." And she's like not going for it. She's like, "I'm not a traitor. I think you're a traitor." But he's on to her. "Lisa, you in trouble." Okay. So then we get to the round table, and they're the quietest they've ever been. And Mark is the first person to speak, and he says that everybody's dogpiling on Ron when essentially Colton did the same thing.
Yup, 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 yup.
And Ron agrees. He's like, it's not fair that they're going after me when Colton did this exact same thing more than once. He's like, I only did this with Portia, and because everyone likes Portia, you guys are mad at me. But because no one liked Michael, they're not seeing that Colton literally did the same thing to Michael. And he did the same thing to Tiffany. So he has a worse track record than I do. And I agree. And Kristen does too. She's like, look, if we're going to hold Ron accountable for what he did, then we need to hold Colton accountable for what he did. And then everyone starts calling him out. And of course, Colton defends himself. Then Ron's like, well, I guess you all are going to vote me out. So I want to say goodbye to everybody. And he starts going around the room and saying personal goodbyes to everyone. And then people are starting to think, man, this guy, he can't be a traitor. And the tables are starting to turn. And then out of nowhere, Colton throws out Lisa's name, and he's like, you know what, on night one, housewives don't go against other housewives, and Lisa voting out Portia never set well with me. And people start thinking about it, and they're like, yeah, you're right, that is weird. And they start turning on Lisa, and I'm getting nervous at this point because I'm like, no, you guys needed to do what Johnny said and vote Colton out. And Candace is like, guys, we're doing it again. We're all pointing fingers at another person because Colton's telling us to. And Alan comes back and it's time to vote. Now, these votes had me on pins and needles because it was between Ron, Lisa, and Colton. So they're going around the room, they're giving their votes. I mean, the votes are neck and neck. And then Rob, he's so nervous. He's the last person to write his vote down. He's so nervous to say who he wants to vote out because he doesn't want to vote Ron out. He doesn't want to vote Lisa out because that's his fellow traitor. He knows it'll be suspicious if he votes Colton out because they're friends. But ultimately, when it gets around to Rob and we find out his vote, he voted for Lisa. And Candace and Lisa are looking dejected because Rob, what are you doing? I was literally screaming at my TV. Why would you vote for Lisa? This was way too risky. So it's literally down to the last vote. Colton has 4 votes, so we know that he's safe. Lisa and Ron both have 5 votes, and the last vote goes to Ron. So Ron is banished from the castle with 6 votes, and Lisa is saved by the skin of her teeth. So of course Ron goes to the circle of truth and he tells everyone that he's a faithful. And then Alan says that he's holding a banquet later on tonight and everyone needs to get dressed up and come to his banquet. And of course, after the round table, Candace and Lisa are pissed at Rob and they don't even want to talk to them. Rob doesn't want to face Lisa, he's afraid. And Colton tells everyone that if the traitors want him out, then they need to go ahead and do it tonight because he's going to get every shield from here on out and he's not going anywhere. Then we find out that Alan has told the traitors that they have to perform another unaliving in plain sight, and this time it's going to be at his banquet. So he gave them an amulet and he said that one of them has to wear it, and the first faithful that they get to touch this amulet will be unalived. So they decide who wants to wear it. Lisa says that she wants to wear it because she knows that she can do this. But this happened before the whole round table incident. So now Lisa is on pins and needles because she's like, I mean, if I go after Colton, it's going to be suspicious. He's not going to get anywhere near me anyway. So just before the episode ended, we finally see Rob, Lisa, and Candace all talking. And Rob's like, I had to do it because everyone knows that I'm close to Ron and Colton and it would look suspicious if I voted for one of them. And Candace and Lisa are still pissed because they're like, that was close. She could have been voted out. And that was where the episode ended. This was another great episode. I cannot wait for episode 7. You guys let me know what y'all thought about it in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. And if you want more of the Traitors content, then go ahead and subscribe and I will see you in the next one.